this didn't happen by accident, okay? I didn't just get here. I'm not talking to you guys here by accident. I went through more suffering than you could ever imagine, okay? Why I started this talk with this statement of if you're gonna try, go all the way, is because most guys don't go all the way. They hit some resistance at some point along the journey and they just quit, right? They get a couple rejections, maybe they get ghosted a couple times, you know, maybe they start to really like a girl that they're dating and then she just like chooses another guy over them, and then they give up. And the way that they give up is that they're not like, most guys have an ego, so they're not like, oh, I'm just like gonna be a loser and give up. They come up with very elaborate excuses and rationalizations. They're like, you know what? I'm busy with work right now. There's a lot going on with my business. There's a lot going on with work. My health isn't perfect. I gotta take care of my family. Just all these excuses, all these elaborate excuses. And then they go on and take years, because you lose momentum. When you're taking action, you stop taking action, momentum totally dies. And momentum is your best friend in anything that you do. So they take years out of this game, out of the process. And then they get older and older and older, and then they're still not where they want to be. And then they wake up like, I don't know, maybe you guys have experienced this. Late 30s, 40s, 50s hit, and you're like, fuck, I still don't have the girl. I still don't have the relationship. I still am not, most importantly, the guy myself that can attract what I want. I still have anxiety. I still have sexual shame. I still have limiting beliefs. I still have insecurities. And I've, by the way, had all the same rationalizations myself. So I'm not judging anybody here. Like, I personally have had them. But for me, I've always had a sense of urgency, a massive sense of urgency. I've had it since I was 18, that I knew that I was starting from like down here, and that if I wasn't gonna be aggressive about figuring this out, nothing's gonna change. So, you guys being here already sets you apart from everybody else, because most guys don't have the awareness, the courage, the action to actually be here. But keep in mind that being here is not enough, right? It's amazing that you guys came here. It's amazing that you took massive action over the course of a weekend. But the question is, are you gonna stop? Are you gonna go all the fucking way until you get the reality that you want? That's the question for all of you guys. Something to think about. Now, for me personally, you know, as I look back at my journey, starting from like literally rock fucking bottom self-esteem, totally invisible to women, to being to where I'm at now, where, you know, I confidently can say like I've mastered this thing. There's 9 levels that I went through. And I want to talk to you guys about what those are. I'm going to be pretty concise. I'm not going to go super into depth, but I just want to walk you guys through the actual journey that I went through, the evolution, the mindset shifts, the actions that I took, the decisions that I had to make to go from 0 to where I'm at now. And then this hopefully will maybe give you guys a good assessment of like, okay, where am I on that scale? Like, what level am I at? What steps do I still need to take to keep climbing? Because it's like, I believe that you guys should only listen to somebody who actually was in your shoes, but who also got the results that you're looking for, right? You wouldn't want to take business advice from somebody who never built a business successfully, right? You also wouldn't want to take business advice from somebody who just had a bunch of money handed over to them. You want to get advice from somebody who's like in the fucking trenches for decades, putting in the work, eating shit, but then getting out of it and figuring it out, okay? So I'm gonna walk you guys through exactly what it took to get here. And by the way, I'm saying that my ideal relationship isn't necessarily your ideal relationship. So for you, there's gonna be similarities, but your ideal girl is gonna look a little bit different, right? There's going to be the same fundamentals, but she's going to maybe have a different lifestyle, a different vibe to her. But my goal for every single one of you guys is that you all get to your outcome, okay, to your desired destination, and that you don't stop along the path up the mountain. If the mountain is, 100,000 feet, you don't stop at 20 or at 50. You go all the way, okay? So, just for some background, so you guys understand like a little bit about me and my childhood, where I came from. Both my parents, Russian immigrants from Soviet Union, from the USSR, and both of them highly traumatized people. Good intentioned people, but like very, very traumatized. My mom, super fearful woman, very anxious, very emotionally dysregulated. Everything scares her, always in fight or flight. That's the vibe all day that she had. My dad, completely emotionally avoidant, very blocked off, very distant, passive aggressive, okay? Did I go through a ton of physical abuse? I had a little bit of that, right? Mild stuff, but nothing crazy, right? Just normal immigrant stuff, right? When you misbehave or get F's and D's in classes. But emotionally, like, it was pretty brutal, I'm not gonna lie, verbally and emotionally. So that's where I started from. Now, that means that I had zero foundation, like literally no foundation. Absorbing the anxious energy from my mom and wanting my dad's love and just nothing, right? Complete just wall numbness. Going into school, growing up, was problematic. My way of dealing with it was that I wanted attention. I was like a class clown. Got suspended all the time, got terrible grades, acted out, got in trouble, got sent to the principal's office like every fucking day. And was not very popular. Got bullied quite a bit. Like, didn't have a lot of friends, to be honest. Didn't have great social skills. All that is fine, right? I'm kind of living in my own numbed out world reality where I'm just acting out all the time. Then get to high school. This is where things get rough. I start to like girls. I see the pretty girls in class, right? The beautiful blonde girls, the brunettes, and they don't even know who I am. They don't even pay attention to me. Get to senior year, don't even have a prom date. Okay? Like 18 years old, don't have a prom date. Even like the weird kids have prom dates. Like, I didn't have a prom date. It was so bad that I got a summer job at a camp. This is where things start to shift. To not be in my town during the prom time, right? You guys know, like after parties, all that stuff's happening. I'm not invited to any of that. The popular kids don't even, like, nobody wants to associate with me. So I go to this camp. I get something weird, right? Like God literally steps into my life. I get this offer to work as a counselor at sleepaway camp. The one thing I always did really well is that I was really good at performing. I was a really good actor. And I spent my high school years not fitting in, but watching all the popular kids. How they talked, how they walked, how they looked at people, the way that they interacted with girls, the cockiness, the pride, the charisma, all that stuff, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. So I studied all these behaviors. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go to a brand new environment and I'm gonna like embody this thing. I'm gonna act this shit out. What do you guys think happened?
Shit worked.
You're successful.
Fucking worked, yeah. Yep. Because it's a brand new environment, no reputation, no status hierarchy that I've already been plugged into. So I'm like, all right, fresh start, fresh environment. It works. I become friends with a few of the people there, end up landing the hottest girl at the camp. For me, that's like my reality is down here and now I'm like up there. I'm able to perform my way into her wanting to give me her virginity. This girl's like a year younger than me. Beautiful girl. Exactly my ideal girl, like physically, her vibe, everything. From a good family. I'm performing still, lying to her about all my experience, about how cool I was in high school, how big of a player I was, how many results I got with women, all this stuff, right? This was before even social media, really. This was like Facebook time. So she couldn't really like look me up on Instagram. When it's time for me to take her virginity, what do you guys think happens? Complete self-sabotage, right? I didn't know it back then, but my nervous system was under so much pressure of trying to be somebody who I'm not that I just shut down. My dick couldn't even, nothing worked. I'm 18 years old. Terrifying. I was a virgin as well. I had no experience with girls. So she forgives me, gives me another chance, which again, what do you guys think happens? Same thing, right? I get wildly needy. I start chasing. I get desperate. Moment I get back home from this camp, I get a paragraph like this, right? You're such a nice guy. I had such a good summer with you, so many memories, but I can't see you anymore, right? You guys know, you already know the text, right? So I get hit with the text. And that was my first level. That's like where I started from, right? But I wanted to give you guys some background on like childhood and what got me even here. In that moment, I was like, all right, I'm 18. I don't know what I'm doing. Never got the girls that I want, except for this one. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to figure this stuff out. Journey begins. The first mental model I had is that what I need to attract girls, because this is all I saw growing up, was looks, status. Makes sense, right? I see the popular kids getting girls. So I'm like, all right, I gotta be muscular, I gotta be lean, I gotta look good, my hair needs to look good, I need to style it in a certain way, dress a certain way, be popular. So I joined this fraternity in college because I thought that that was my path in. Start hitting the gym really hard. Get really injured because I don't know what I'm doing. And get the fuck hazed out of me. Like the living hell hazed out of me. Horrible. All of my traumas from childhood just resurfaced. I feel constant anxiety. Fall into deep depression. So bad that I like got through it, but I didn't even want to like associate with these people. Because they put me through like an absolute nightmare. Do you guys think I'm getting girls as I go through this? No. Right? I'm like maybe getting drunk at a party and making out with it like a 5 once in a while. But I'm not getting anything really substantial. So that's the second level, right? Looks and status. Pause here for a sec. Does anybody here still, or maybe in the past, believe that is what you needed to be successful? Or like had that limiting, that virus in your head? Okay, cool. Not anymore, hopefully. Okay, level 3. So level 3 is interesting, right? I'm college. I'm putting on a little bit of size. I'm getting into shape. I used to be like a stick. And I go on this vacation with my family. And they have a family friend there, like a really pretty girl, younger than me. I'm like, all right, I got this, right? I'm in a frat. I'm older than her. I take her for a walk. Try to make a move. Sorry, you're not my type. Rejects me. And that's when I was like, all right, like I need to like figure something out here. So go back home after vacation, one of those family trips, and go online, and I'm starting to like look up, okay, how do you actually talk to girls? Like, what do you say? What do you do? And that's the next stage. That's the next level, which is my entry point into pickup and game. So for the next 3 years, guys, this is timeline so you understand camp, everything that went down with the girl that first I couldn't perform with was 2013. This is now 2015, right? So between 2015 and 2018, I go into this like deep rabbit hole of red pill advice, pickup advice, infield footage. I become obsessed. I start studying every single person out there that's doing this. I'm like micro analyzing all their behaviors, what they're doing, what they're saying. I have literally, like, on my notepad on my phone, scripts written out of how to start conversations, every tactic that's out there. And I started approaching. I've been taking massive action since 2015, right? I realized through pickup, like, fuck, you don't have to just approach at a party. You can approach at grocery stores. You can approach on the street. You can approach at a cafeteria. And I just started, like, ripping it, just getting after it, right? This is 10 years ago. What do you guys think happens? What are my results like?
You have some success.
I have some success, yeah, 100%. I pull some girls once in a while. I get some numbers. But do you guys think it's a lot of success? No. Very low batting average, like pure just numbers, right? Maybe like I approach 100 girls, I get 5 numbers. So rejection. And I was so committed, I didn't care. Like I was in college, I was going out to New York. I was going out in college during the week. And then on the weekends, I was going out to New York City on a train on my own late at night to like sneak into these EDM parties to just approach, to just hammer out night game approaches. Club soda, no alcohol, just getting after it, getting blown out. For me, I was writing down my stats too. I was like, girl in yellow dress made out with me. This girl rejected me. What did I say? Let me analyze what I did, right? So that was that. I was looking for the next tactic. That's what this whole period of my life was about. I was like, I think I'm one tactic away. Not true, but I thought that I was one tactic away. Who here maybe thinks that way or has thought that way, that if they only had like one tactic, they would be incredible with women? Like if you just knew like the perfect line, everything would be different. No. So this is where we get to the next level, which is I stumble upon a book that all of you guys know called Models. So I'm listening to a podcast where Mark Manson's on, and he's talking about how vulnerability is not a tactic, but it's like a way of being that changed his entire dating life. He's like talking about how he doesn't need to do anything. He's just like being authentic. He's just expressing himself, right? And like women are all over him. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, can I really do that? Can I really just be vulnerable and get women? So immediately I'm like, all right, I'm gonna test this out. So I go to a music festival. Back then I really liked EDM, right? So I go to this festival called Electric Zoo in New York City. EZoo. You know EZoo, yep. Go to EZoo, see this gorgeous brunette, like exactly my type. Walk up to her and go, you make me super nervous, but I wanna come say hi to you, right? The thing that a lot of you guys have tried doing. She like lights up like a Christmas tree, right? She's so excited. Then I'm like, you turn me on, I want to dance with you. And I just like start expressing things that I feel. Next thing you know, we're like dancing, making out. This girl's like at 8.59. Incredible, right? I'm blown away. I'm getting like, within 30 seconds, I'm able to like escalate with a girl like that. So I'm like, wow, this is the best tactic I've ever had. So I start using vulnerability as a trick. I start approaching women using vulnerability, usually telling them that I'm nervous or that I'm feel some anxiety, right? And at first it works, but then it kind of stops working. So it kind of like unlocked a new level, but then it ran its course. And this is where, now we're talking level 5 now, I'm like, okay, this is around the time I'm starting Everlasting Confidence. This is like 2018. I'm like, all right, I need a real mentor. I need somebody who's more advanced, who knows what they're doing, who teaches this dating approach, but like in a more authentic way. I don't want to do pickup anymore. It's exhausting. It's fake. So I reach out to the best mentor that I know. I pay him a good chunk of money, and we do model work together for the first time. And I come in like super cocky. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I already have a couple clients, the guys I worked with one-on-one. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I've been approaching for years. The model just shreds me. She's like, you're the neediest, most insecure dude I've ever met in my life. Like, you were just reeking neediness. And this girl's not even that attractive. And she just reads me, like completely reads me.
Could see right through you.
Right through me, yeah. She could just see like all like the preoccupation, just the effort that I'm putting in, the trying energy, all of it. She just reads me. I leave the experience early, completely crushed, just with my head down, going home, and just for 2 weeks I have like complete apathy. I like don't even want to approach. I go from being like in massive doing mode to just complete avoidance because my ego is just in shambles. And then I'm like sitting there and I'm like, okay, look, I can either give up. I'm already, I don't know, 4 or 5 years deep into this thing of figuring it out, or I can keep climbing the mountain. I could either try like I've tried and just give up, or I can go all the way. And I'm like, no, fuck it, I'm gonna go all the way. The thing though that I get out of that experience, what do you guys think it is? What do you think that this model work opens my eyes to? Like maybe it's opened your eyes to something as well.
Yeah, it's in your big.
Yes.
Triggers emotions, a lot of emotions.
Yeah. Like you were crying during model work yesterday. Some of you guys were shaking. I realized that I was full of negative emotions. I was full of shame and anxiety and attachment to outcome and inadequacy. I was full of this heaviness. And that's when I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna take inner work seriously. I've meditated a little bit up until that point. This is 2018, 2019. I'm like, I'm gonna go deep with inner work. So I started doing all the stuff that you guys have been doing. Feeling my legs, feeling my belly, working through like stuck emotions, doing releasing. I found letting go. That was huge for me, by the way, letting go. Amazing. And I just started working through different stuff. And what do you guys think happens? Of just me consistently doing inner work plus approaching.
Get better results.
Mm-hmm. Do you think my results were worse or better? Unlock a completely new level, right? As some of you guys have seen. Inner work plus approaching is the magic formula to this thing. Unlock a totally new level. Get to a point where I'm not getting maybe the hottest girls, but I'm getting very cute girls pretty consistently. I'm getting to a point where I have a rotation of girls at this point. Some of them through dating apps, a lot of them through approaching. And then COVID hits. My apartment, there's a crisis, there's a fire, burns down. I get hit by a car, break my wrist, can't work out. Business tanks, because you can't teach approaching during COVID. You know, I was doing pretty well, right? I was making like $15K a month as a kid. 25 years old, living the dream. Dating a couple girls, just have a Monday girl, Tuesday girl, Wednesday girl, Friday, right? Things are good. Approaching on the weekends, getting new leads. Living the dream. COVID hits, lose everything, move back home with my dysregulated parents. Constant triggers, right? Like went from like up here all the way back down. So my brother and I say, okay, look, I was actually gonna move to Manhattan, can't do that. Let's move to Florida. So we moved to Miami. Miami's a new level, right? Like I'm used to being in a college town talking to girls. Miami's a different game. And I'm not getting the best results in Miami. I get some results, but I'm not getting the level of results that I want. I had this massive I had this whole expectation that I would come to Miami, I've done all this stuff, and I'm just gonna kill it. I'm gonna get like 10s. Didn't happen. It's the truth. So I go into a pretty low state. I start self-medicating with going out, start drinking, going to strip clubs to feel better. And I kind of lose motivation, to be honest.
Been there.
Yeah, kind of lose motivation. But then it's interesting. I meet this girl. Okay, I meet this girl. It's a friend. My cousin comes into town randomly, and she's got this friend who's pretty cute. She introduces me to her. And this girl really likes me. She shows me a lot of interest. And I'm in a bit of a low state. So I'm like, fuck it, why not? Let me start hanging out with her. Dive into this relationship, right? Who here has done that? Is like, you've been in a low state, you have a girl that shows you guys interest, and you're like, okay, let's do it. She's definitely not a 10, definitely not what I want, but just good enough, right? I get some affection from her. She's not terrible. Yeah, this girl, lots of self-esteem issues. We don't have a healthy relationship. And deep down, I just know that it's like, I know I could do better. And I know I could do better because I'm like always like looking around, thinking about approaching other girls. And I feel trapped. I don't know if you guys have ever felt trapped in a relationship. You feel on one hand, it's like super comfortable, but on the other hand, you feel guilty that you're kind of with someone who you don't totally want to be with. And you feel this sense of like being suffocated, but also scared to get back out there because you're scared of like, well, what if I don't find anything better? So it's all these mixed emotions. Eventually I say, you know what? I'm gonna just end this. It was a tough breakup. I end the relationship and I decide to go travel. So I take a year to travel the entire world. Colombia, Brazil, Argentina, Ecuador, Serbia, Spain, travel Mexico, travel everywhere. You guys think I do well? I do pretty well. Yeah. Because think about it, right? Like up until this point, I've put in years of approaching practice, lots and lots and lots of inner work, had this relationship, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go take inner work even more seriously. Guys, I'm telling you, I had some of the wildest experiences of my life traveling. Like threesomes, pulling girls within 20 minutes, like lots, but it's also a little bit easier, I'm not gonna lie, when you're traveling, right? There's a sense of like outcome independence, you're traveling, tourists. So I have a lot of good results, but there's still one problem. Can you guys guess what that is?
External validation.
For sure, I'm very dependent on the validation of the girls. I'm still, if things work with a girl, I feel amazing. If they don't work, I feel like shit. Very true. What else?
You're in a big state of doing and not being.
Yes, to some extent. Yeah, I'm kind of like dancing between doing and being. I'm probably maybe at the level of like some of you guys are at. Maybe you, right? Like I'm kind of getting results, but it's, yeah. Any other ideas of where I'm still stuck?
Pointless relationships. I mean, you just know you're racking them up, but there's nothing real there.
Yeah, I would say for sure there's kind of two problems. So one is the type of girls that I'm attracting are not deeply emotionally secure, right? They're either insecure and anxious or they're like kind of avoidant. Number two is that when I get a girl that I really like, sure, like I can go through the dance of approaching and the conversation, the seduction, all that stuff. But when it comes to actually like keeping her, I sabotage. I get kind of needy. I get I start to overthink after the second date, the third date, right? Like I start to do too much. Have you guys ever done that? Right? Like you're like with a girl that you really like. Yeah, so that's what happens. And it's like once you're like, there's levels to this, to women. So once you start playing with like at the highest levels of women, in terms of beauty, elegance, sophistication, they can smell neediness and insecurity from like a country away. They could. Like you could be in Miami, they're like in Argentina, they could smell your neediness. So that's what happens. And again, I'm like higher up the mountain, but I'm still not where I want to be. I'm still not in my ideal relationship with my ideal partner. So what I decide to do is I have two options. I could keep traveling and living this like digital nomad life, having fun, having these flings with like girls that are pretty good looking, but maybe not exactly what I want. Also kind of on easy mode while I'm traveling. Or I could just come back to Miami where it's harder, where the competition's very high, and I could lock the fuck in. And that's what I do. I go into monk mode. Okay? I find, through my network, an underground mentor who guides me through a process called reparenting. I work with him for a year and a half. It was very expensive, but it was the best decision I ever made. And this process is what gets me to where I'm at now. So before I go into what reparenting is, I just want to tell you guys this. I've done a lot of fucking modalities. I've tried NLP, I've tried affirmations, I've tried hypnosis, I've tried hypnotherapy, I've tried body scans, I've tried releasing, I've tried all these different things, Sedona method. Reparenting is the final boss of inner work. Like there's nothing like reparenting. Okay? So for those of you who don't know what reparenting is, let me share. So basically, how it works is that instead of you trying to remove negative emotions, which is kind of, it's not exactly the focus of emotional awareness in all the stuff we do here. It's more like, can we surrender to these feelings? Can we observe these feelings? But it's still, you're still working with negative, heavy emotions. And if all you know is sadness, anxiety, shame, you have no reference point for positive emotions. So like, yeah, you can sit there and you could feel all this negative stuff and it's amazing. It's an absolute must to do anything else. It's the foundation. But there's a ceiling to it. And reparenting is focused on something very different. It's on you receiving the emotional needs that you never got as a child. Okay? So as a child, there are two ways to get traumatized. One is through, I don't know if the word is correct, but it's through commission. So something happens to you, you get hit, you get abused, even sexually, right? You get verbally abused, you get emotionally abused. These are like direct traumas that happen to you that are detrimental to a young boy's mind. They leave very, very deep imprints that affect how you view yourself for the rest of your life. But that's not the only type of trauma. The second type of trauma is trauma through omission. So it's what you didn't get that you needed to get. And I know some of you guys here might think, okay, well, I had a pretty good childhood. Nobody whacked me with an umbrella. Nobody like just threw me out of my house into the cold and made me sleep outside. Nobody called me a piece of shit every single day, maybe just sometimes. But maybe what you haven't really thought about is there are things that you should have gotten, that you needed to get to be a healthy, secure boy that you never received. And what reparenting does is that it allows you to get a childhood that you've always needed to have, but you never had. Okay? There are 5 core needs that you had to receive as a child. We're going to talk about what those are. But do you guys get what I'm saying? Do you get the premise? Okay? Now look, if you didn't get these emotional needs as a child, it means that your cup is empty. You are at a massive disadvantage when it comes to relationships with women, because relationships with women are all based on your relationship with your parents. If you didn't feel safe with your parents, you expect to not feel safe with women. If you didn't get unconditional love from your parents, if it was conditional or performance-based, you're going to perform with women and seek their validation. You don't believe that you are enough just as you are. You're always going to be acting. If you never got deep attunement, a sense of your parents really seeing you and knowing you for who you are, you're never going to know what that's like with women, and your connections with them are going to be just shallow. They're going to be empty. They're going to be like 2 out of 10, like we talked about, instead of a 10 out of 10. So not getting these needs robs you. And it's painful to hear. It was really painful for me to hear. But the good news is that you can absolutely still heal. And the way you do this is through visualization. Visualizing ideal parents, an ideal dad, an ideal mom that you never had. Now, some of you guys, I could already see this happening, thinking, well, maybe I don't want to like change my parents. I don't want to get new parents. That's up to you. You can use the same parents that you had, but that embodied the qualities that you needed. Or you can imagine new parents. That's totally up to you. But the point is that either way, whatever you choose to do, if you want to be the version of yourself that attracts healthy, secure women, you have to go through this work. There is no way around it, right? You can do your way into a certain level, but if you want to be and attract women like we talked about through your being, you have to be integrated. You have to become secure. And the only way to do that is through reparenting. Okay? So let's talk about the needs. So the first need, and you guys will see they all build on each other, is safety. So safety is the sense, it's emotional safety, that you're not under threat. If your parents had tons of conflicts, if there's divorce, if there's fighting, whether it's in front of you or behind the closed doors, as a child, you absorb all of that stuff in your young nervous system. You just take it all in, all that unsafety. And then you unconsciously carry that into all of your relationships. Okay? Safety is a sense that I'm okay, everything's okay, everything is safe. It's this like deep sense of, it's this undercurrent of peace versus an undercurrent of anxiety at your core. The next need is attunement. So attunement is, as I said, you really being seen for who you are. If your parents worked a shitload, if they're always busy, if they're in their heads, right? Always like, hey, whatever, like I just got to do what I got to do here. Here's your food. Like that type of behavior, that's complete lack of attunement. When you lack attunement, you seek validation, right? Because it's a need to be seen. And if you're never seen, you're going to indirectly find ways to be seen. Okay? That are unhealthy, that are toxic. For me, it was like acting out, being class clown. I desperately wanted to be seen. I was never seen by my parents until I did this work. Then you have comfort, okay? Comfort, nurture. So this is where you were held when you felt pain, when you felt sadness, when you felt shame, when you felt anger. You were allowed to feel these things. Your parents regulated you versus shaming you. judging you, criticizing you. Don't be a little girl. Why are you crying? That's traumatic, that type of stuff. The fourth need is delight. And delight is a massive one because delight is responsible for you enjoying yourself, you enjoying your own experience, right? You see some people, they're just like happy people, they like really enjoy themselves. That's because they were delighted in. That's because their parents like looked deep into their soul and just had so much joy in their eyes as they looked at them. They delighted in their being. If you don't have that delight from your parents, what do you think you do? What do you guys think?
Overachiever, perfectionist.
Perfectionist, overachiever, performer. You use material possessions to get delight. You are super nice to people to get delight. You do all this acting to get delight. Maybe you try to act really cool to get there's a million strategies to overcompensate for lack of delight. But the point is that inside, you're not enjoying your own experience. So guys, before we get to the last need, I want you to see how this is beyond women. This is your self-image. This is your self-talk. This is your self-worth that we're talking about, that then permeates how women experience you. The last need is encouragement. So encouragement is the sense that your parents want you to take risks. They're not helicopter parents that keep you in a box, that cause you to play safe. Hey, no, that's bad. No, don't explore. No, that's bad. You don't get that type of treatment. You have this support, you have this belief in you have this deep encouragement to go for all the things that you want. Okay? So I've been doing this shit. I've been going through this. I'm not going to call it shit because it's the best thing in the world. I've been going through this process first with a mentor for 1.5 years, then myself for another 1.5 years. You need a year minimum to go through this process to become secure. I did it for 3 because I didn't want to settle. I was like, I'm going to leave no stone unturned. I'm going to just keep reparenting, keep going deeper, keep finding layers inside of me that are unhealed, that are unintegrated until I get all the way there. That was my mindset. And I got there.